Hello, it's Davey Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas, where I run the jazz guitar program. Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist. I got 4 with them, and the new one is coming out June 9th. Pretty soon I'll put it up there. Might need a new stand, or a bigger one. Got 2 Mel Bay books, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary and Into the Labyrinth, an Anatomy of Position Playing for Jazz Guitar. And I just got through the first day of juries out here at UNT, getting through the semester, getting ready to head out to Brazil and Argentina and hopefully Mexico, maybe some other places too, to do some gigs, get the way back to the fun stuff, international travel, meeting new people, seeing cool places, eating good food, etc., mainly etc. And let's see, I want to talk to you all today about a Thelonious Monk song called Ugly Beauty. Very beautiful tune, the beauty. I'll talk about the ugly part. It's on his record Underground from, I believe, like 67, 68, somewhere in there. You know, Charlie Rouse, is it Ben Riley? No, actually, I looked it up this time, so I wouldn't be guessing. Larry Gale's on bass, Ben Riley on drums, Charlie Rouse. And I guess John Hendricks is on one of the tunes singing. But a really cool record. And Ugly Beauty is, I think, his only waltz, right? The only tune that Monk wrote in 3. There's also a great new version on Kurt Rosenwinkel's album Angels Around. They do a sort of 3/4 samba feel that's really cool on the tune. But it's a really interesting song. And the first chord kind of gives it away. And the version on the album, I was reading some article where it was saying that the original record, it was edited, the Ugly Beauty release to fit on, so it would fit on the side of an album. Because the version that I know from the CD that I had is like over 10 minutes long. And it's like multiple solos. They play the head, Charlie Rouse plays a solo, Monk plays a solo, Larry Gales plays a solo. Then Rouse takes another solo. There's like multiple solos on the song, and it's a pretty long track. But the opening piano line is this. Let's see if I can play it on guitar. It actually fits on 7-string guitar. And I think the second time he goes. That's kind of a nice 7-string. So it's like a D minor 7 flat 5 with the 11 and the melody. It's got the natural second, like, so if we were in jazz school, we might call that a Locrian sharp 2, kind of F melodic minor sound on a D minor 7 flat 5. But it also, maybe the ugly part, it's a very beautiful chord, but it also has the natural or the perfect 5th in it as well. So it's like that chord. See that interval and that interval in there. So you have some kind of dissonant, strident intervals inside of this sound, and when you play it all together, it's actually very beautiful. And to me, that's a really important part of this tune, is to have that, at least when you're playing the head, When I'm soloing, I don't necessarily try to find a chord scale or a specific sound that has both the flat 5 and the natural 5th, although maybe it's kind of like a blues sound. I remember my friend and colleague here, Noel Johnston, shout out to Noel Johnston, was talking about there's a Hungarian minor scale mode that has all those notes in it. But it's really interesting. So the tune goes, if you put that chord in there. So D minor, harmonically you got D minor 7 flat 5, G7, D minor 7 flat 5, D flat major 7, And then on beat 3, you have an E flat 7, then E flat minor 7, A flat 13, D flat. Those are like the chord symbols, but there's some things in there that are really, I think, kind of important to at least, be aware of, even if you don't play them every time. I don't know that Rosenwinkel plays them every time. But there's a great book that you all may be aware of, that Steve Cardenas and Don Sickler did, Thelonious Monk, a fake book. Shout out to Steve Cardenas and Don Sickler, where he has a lot of these elements in there. So like, for instance, you have that chord, right? G13, D flat major 7, and then the E flat 7. At least the first time, I think Monk plays this E flat 9 sharp 11 voicing, but the flat 5 is down in a lower octave, and then you have the 5th as the melody. So again, you have that flat 5 and flatted 5th and perfect 5th, or however you want to think about those intervals, in the same chord, in a way where the interval and the sound is very strident, but in the context, it's actually kind of beautiful. So it's ugly beauty. There's some little elements in where he plays the melody there, rhythmically and with certain pitches. So basically, you have 2, 3, and those melody notes are really specifically straight. Dun dun dun. I remember Peter Bernstein. Shout out to Peter Bernstein, one of the goats. I'm giving a lot of shout outs this episode. But I remember studying some Monk stuff with him back at NYU when I was getting my PhD. And I remember he was pointing out how there's very specific in certain Monk tunes, Light Blue is another one. Certain things are swung really intensely, almost like a dotted rhythm. And then certain things are also very straight, da, da, da. So in this one you have on that A section, it's not, it's definitely not, at least not the way they play it on that record. I mean, I guess it's debatable whether, you could interpret it, I guess, the way you want. But on the recording, the original recording, they're very specific about it. And then the other thing is so you have this. So on the recording, Charlie Rouse goes, and Monk goes. So you have a cool little contrary motion. I don't know if he also doubles the piano note, but you definitely get this sense of one person going up and one person going down, or one pitch going up and down. It almost sounds like. And then Monk does a little major pentatonic D flat little fill on the first A. Then they do it again. So AABA, the bridge is like A flat minor 11, D flat 7, 13 flat 9, then like a B flat 7 altered, B flat 7 flat 5, and then A flat 7 sus, A flat 7 dominant sharp 11, and A flat minor, and G7 sharp 11. Although at the end of the bridge, there's also this specific thing where he goes from the A flat sus. So the G part falls on like beat 3, so it's like 1, 2, 3, and then on beat 1, he also plays it's kind of the same chord, but I think he puts the flat 5 in there. So you have it's very very specific. Like a lot of Monk's music, you know, I think one of my pet peeves, and I don't consider myself an expert like, say, Peter Bernstein or Steve Cardenas or, you know, other folks we could name on the repertoire, Monk repertoire, but I do know that what annoys me is sometimes when people kind of do like a self-conscious sort of play weird when they're playing the Monk song, as opposed to playing just very specifically things that he plays, which are sometimes, you know, dissonant and sometimes unusual, but it's very much, they're consistent across a lot, if not all of his tunes, certain devices that he does a lot. And so on this song, that's very specific. So the bridge, you know. Oh, sorry, I played it wrong. Sometimes I'll go this voicing, maybe for the second one, put a little more sort of diminished Herbie voicing hair on the chord to this one. So really, again, I say beautiful, it's kind of funny because that's the name of the song, but beautiful tune and some really specific and unusual things going on, but also some very familiar things like that bridge, you know. Out of the ordinary from any jazz standard of the era, or, you know, like the Tin Pan Alley era harmony. You know, the tunes it's in D flat, right? So you have like a 2/5 to the 4, but then it goes to the 6, 2, 5, and then kind of like a 2/5 to the 4 again. But I mean, the A sections are a little more unusual or a little different, with the fact that they have the D minor 7, flat 5 to G7 before we get to, in the key of D flat, more common things like 1, 2 dominant, 2, 5, 1. And in terms of playing on it, yeah, you know, definitely a lot of the time I'm playing on the D minor 7, flat 5, a natural 9. E natural, so I guess, like I said, in jazz school you could call that Locrian sharp 2, and I don't feel like I have to also put in an A natural, but if I were going to, I might try to think of it as like a blues note, in the sense that you know, on a D minor chord, having an A flat and an A is kind of ask for some blues, you know. Or just I'll think of it as like an F minor, you know. A lot of the time on minor 7 flat 5 chords, I'll think minor up a minor 3rd and play off of that, and then to the G7. I often kind of make it be like a half whole diminished sound, you know, like an E triad over G. Charlie Rouse loves to play that. He plays it. I don't know that he plays it on this record, but he does on Ask Me Now and other things. You know, that's like the favorite diminished pattern of like that decade, like 50s to 60s. I just got a 2-5-1. I noticed Rouse a few times when he gets to the E flat minor 7 on the A section, so he goes. I hear him playing like a D flat major pentatonic or B flat minor pentatonic. I was wondering if that's like, reminds me of Johnny Griffin on Thelonious in Action, who plays a lot of like, especially on Light Blue, plays a lot of major pentatonics. So you hear him like. And you know, I can do any of the normal sort of alterations that I like to do, you know, playing on the A flat 7, making it like an augmented sound. You know, another thing about the top part of D minor 7 flat 5, right? If you just arpeggiating that chord, you got F, A flat, and C, right? If you move it down a half, the D down a half step to D flat, it's a D flat major triad, so it's pretty close. Major 7 chord, excuse me. A little allergies today. And yeah, D minor 7 flat 5 and D flat major 7 are really close. So. You know, the bridge is so in the bag of like Tin Pan Alley and that type of harmony that I feel pretty comfortable playing it. Something I talk to my students about, you know, when playing, this one isn't that slow if you stick to the tempo they recorded at, but sometimes, you know, with slow waltzes, I recorded one on, which one? Live at National Sawdust, my tune, Angela's Sad Song, and I find it challenging to get the right feel with a slow, like a waltz ballad, but over the years I've kind of settled on the idea that I want to play a mixture of like duple and triple rhythms, you know, mix in some triplets and also some 16th notes and 8th notes, and having that real like straight versus swung kind of thing that you hear on Monk. So. Anyway, again, great song, one of my favorites in the whole Monk repertoire, and I'm going to play a few choruses on it, and I hope you dig it. Ugly Beauty.
Thank